Good afternoon, everyone. We are almost about to get today's proceedings underway in 5 minutes, but sit back and enjoy the music from the local Aboriginal artist Zane Hall. Thank you.
This one is my original called Was I the One? I sat here and waited for you like a dog. Damn girl, you made me wait for so long, just for you to say let's be friends. When is the line and bullcrap gonna end? And all this time wasted, and all these breaths taken, and smoke in my lungs, and all those days wasted, and all those nights taken, waiting for you to come home. Am I stupid? Am I dumb for believing I was the one? I guess I'm stupid and a little bit dumb for believing I was the one. Late night drives to clear my mind, need to get you out of my head. Rather be dead and alone than to be trapped in a friend zone. That's just how it is. And all this time wasted, and all these breaths taken, and smoke in my lungs, and all those days wasted, and all those nights taken, waiting for you to come home. Am I stupid? Am I dumb for believing I was the one? I guess I'm stupid and a little bit dumb for believing I was the one. I sat here and waited for you like a dog. Damn girl, you made me wait for so long, just for you to say let's be friends. When is the line and bullcrap gonna end? Thank you. Do you want to bring the guitar with me?
Let's get it up for Zane. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It's so nice to see you all present today for what will be a wonderful event as we join in NAIDOC celebrations, which is celebrated all across this beautiful state of Queensland and across this country. Before we begin, I would like to remind everyone regarding photography of today's event. Please be aware that you may be photographed in a group setting during this event and that images may be used in promotional material for the Department of Justice. My name is Tremaine Walk-On and I will be your MC for today's ceremony. I would like to welcome you all to the Department of Justice NAIDOC flag raising ceremony. At this time, I would like to formally welcome and acknowledge our distinguished guests, including Sarah Cruikshank, Director General of Department of Justice, Brigida Cunnington, Deputy Director General of Courts and Tribunals, Chief Magistrate Just Brassington, Acting Chief Justice Judge David Bottas, members of the judiciary, representatives from the Community Justice Group, elders, respected persons, and community volunteers, staff of Department of Justice who are present and joining us via live stream, and members of the public. We have a full program for you today and a special acknowledgement and thank you to all our keynote speakers and performers. My name is Tremaine Walk-On and I'm a proud Aboriginal man and Australian South Sea Islander. My Aboriginal heritage comes from my mother's side, in which I'm a proud descendant of the Waka Waka people, through my epical ancestor lines of Kitty Law and the mother of Willie Boy Pickering. I'd also take this opportunity to also acknowledge my other family ties on my father's side, who are descendants of St. Paul Village on Moa Island in the Torres Straits. I currently work for the Department of Justice and have been employed by the department for 12 months. I'm positioned as the Murray Court Coordinator in the Indigenous Justice Program, which is a part of the Court's Innovation Program. So today we have an amazing program for you in celebration of the NAIDOC Week 2025. This year's NAIDOC theme is the next generation, strength, vision, and legacy. The 2025 theme, the next generation, strength, vision, and legacy, celebrates not only the achievements of the past, but the bright future ahead, empowered by the strength of our young leaders, the vision of our communities, and the legacy of our ancestors. The NAIDOC journey began as a movement for recognition and rights sparked by Indigenous communities who saw a future built on justice and equality. Over the decades, it has grown into a powerful national celebration, a testament to the enduring strength of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. As we commemorate this 50-year legacy, we also look forward, honouring the next generation who will carry the torch, shaping the future with courage, insight, and deep respects for our roots, guided by the wisdom of our elders and the groundwork laid by our forebearers. Each NAIDOC week reinforces our vision of an Australia where Indigenous voices are not only heard, but led the way and lead the way. As a matter of traditional Aboriginal protocol and out of respect for the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet upon today, I would now like to invite Ani Gaja Kerry Charlton to perform a Welcome to Country and Tribal Experiences Aboriginal dances from Minjin. Thank you.
Thank you, Travon. Yawa, Berin Marumba. Greetings, everyone. Nyunyu Marumba. Good afternoon. Nyunyu, actually, sorry, Berin Marumba. Can you all say that? Berin Marumba. So together, that means good day. So let's say it together. 1, 2, 3. Berin Marumba. And for all the local people, who lives up the coast a little bit and you drive past Marumba Downs? Yeah. That's Marumba, which means good place. So Marumba. So Marumba to be here. And thank you to the Magistrates Courts for having me be part of this, doing the Welcome to Country for this NAIDOC Week 2025 celebration. My name is Gaja Kerry Charlton, and Gaja is our language word for eldership and seniority. I am a Yagara person. I'm also part of the Quandamooka people and part of the Gubbi Gubbi people. And so today we are in what is often called Meanjin or Miganjin, but they're 2/3 of the way. It's Mugunjin. And Mugun is tulip wood, tree. And Mugunjin means place of many tulip wood trees. Now, just so that you know, NAIDOC Week and what it represents is sharing culture, celebrating our culture, and a lot of us are able to learn more and know more and express it more than when I was growing up and my children were growing up. So I'm a proud mother of 3 and a grandmother of 15 and a great-grandmother. Sorry, I got that wrong. Grandmother of 13 and great-grandmother of 7. So, you know, I've seen a lot in my time and I can tell you how wonderful it is. I can't express how wonderful it is that the things that we're doing together as a community as a nation on Yagara country, but across all of the countries on this continent called Australia. So I want to also acknowledge the elders here today, and we call ourselves Guri in Yagara language. We are Guris, and I know a lot of you hear Murray and Murray for Queensland, but in our language, Murray means kangaroo. So our word is Guri, and I think a lot of you would have heard Kuri as you go further south. And I think because it gets colder, you know, it goes from Guri to Kuri, because we're so spoiled here up here, aren't we? You know, a bit of cold, and we're like, look at me, big coat. So I just want to say that we're Guris, and so I want to acknowledge all the Guris from everywhere here today as well, and acknowledge your country and your ancestors. I acknowledge our gumming who cared for country here for tens of thousands of generations. We're on Yagara country. Yagara starts southwest at the Great Dividing Range. It comes through to the Pacific Ocean, parts of south of Moreton Bay. It also goes south along parts of the Logan River and north along the Pine, north and south. So I just want to give you an idea of the length, breadth of Yagara country. I also just want to acknowledge each of those who are live streaming in from the magistrates' courts across Queensland as well, and I want to acknowledge all the Guri community and people linking in, and your country, and just to say Yawa Numbali, and a Korumba Baron Numbali. So have a great day, everyone, out in wherever you are. So I would like to also just acknowledge our ancestors and also our tribes, my people, my tribes. I come from the Gurrugum tribe of Mugginjin, which is the Brisbane area, Gurrunpool and Jundawal on Jarangeri, Stradbroke Island in Burraga, Moreton Bay, and also Mudjinbarra in West Yagara. And then Nyunda, or commonly known as Jundabari, in Gubbi Gubbi country. And I acknowledge my great-grandmother who was removed from her tribal areas in the Gulf country, up around Maggieville and Normanton and Norman River. And I hope you all enjoyed my grandson singing, Zane. And that's just a little example of us passing on. I don't sing, so he's teaching me. But the exemplifying what we're on about for this year, the theme of this year. And I just thank you all for being here and celebrating with us. I'd like to say Wanjana Nuru Numbili, Bibalka Numbili, Nuriba Bing, Wunya Waganyiba, Dugulawanya, Dagaisnya Guri Beren. Be blessed, be safe, enjoy being here on Yagara country. Be Balka Yagara Jarana Numbili. Be welcome everyone on Yagara country. And then some more of my tribe's going to come up and sing and dance as well. So it's not quite nepotism, but it's a tribal thing. So Bibalka Numbili. Welcome everyone.
No power. Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are the tribal experiences, Aboriginal dancers, descendants of the Yagara and Turrbal tribes of Brisbane. We'd just like to thank Gunny Kerry for the welcome to country, and we'd like to extend a warm welcome here by welcoming you with a welcoming song and dance one, which we call Malacha, which is a welcoming song and dance to welcome you. Also to welcome the good Nora, good ancestor, good spirit. Yo, Nanya Yagara Nora. Yo, Nanya Nabli Yagara Malacha. Yo, what? Welcome. This next song of this is one of the Gowena, which we call Maroon. And the Gowena are one of our totals from the Yagara people, the Yagara tribe. For those of you who don't know what a totem is a representation of your clan or your family group. This could be a tree or an animal. As in the Yagara region, this is Sangwana, which we call Maroon. This is Maroon, the Sangwana. Dance of the rainbow serpent. In our language, we call it Mundagara. We believe she is the creator of all the waterways and also the Brisbane River. This is Mundagara, rainbow serpent. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to our last song of this we call Jagana, which means pay and respect to Mother Earth. For we as Aboriginal people believe that we don't own the land owns us. We're just here to look after and maintain it as best we can. This is Jagana, Mother Earth. We'd like to say Nanya Nubali. You've been a wonderful audience and we hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you and happy NAIDOC week, everyone.
Thank you, Anagaja Kerry Charlton, for the wonderful welcome to country and the Tribal Experiences Aboriginal dances. Thank you. I would now like to invite our first guest speaker to the stage, Sarah Cruikshank, who is the Director General of the Department of Justice. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Sarah. Thank you.
That is a very, very hard act to follow. And I'm sure you could all feel the most incredible vibrations in the ground. So thank you so much to those performers. That was amazing. Please, round of applause again. It was incredible. I'm quite nervous now to be the person standing here in front of you because it'll be quite a letdown. Nevertheless, I do want to thank, I've lost Gaja Kerry Charlton. Now I've lost her. I do want to say thank you. There you are. I wanted to say thank you so much for that welcome to country. I am from the south. I'm from Sydney. And so your comments about Koori resonated strongly with me. And I too am still in a woolen jacket, although I wasn't quite sure I would be needing them when I moved up from Sydney. So thank you for that welcome to country, and importantly I too want to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands that we are standing upon, and I pay my respects to elders past and present. I also extend that welcome to our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander colleagues who are here today as well. A couple of acknowledgements, if you'll bear with me. It's important to me that I say these things because it is deeply important from my point of view that in the first instance that I acknowledge all the Murray Court and Community Justice Group elders and respected persons who are here with us. I've met a couple of them already in the preliminary stages of this event. Thank you for what you do and the work that you do to help us deliver a justice system here in Queensland that works for all the communities we serve. I haven't yet met our guest speakers, Marissa and Isaiah, but I'm very much looking forward to hearing your insights. As I just alluded to, I want to thank the talented performers who we have already seen, but also the ones that we will see throughout this event. You do an amazing job of bringing the incredible culture of our First Nations people to life, which is an important part of what we do for NAIDOC Week. I also want to acknowledge heads of jurisdiction and other members of the judiciary who are here and who embody the commitment to justice and equity. I want to thank Tremaine for being our Master of Ceremonies, and also acknowledge everybody who is online, and thank you for taking time out to join us today. As the new Director General for the Department of Justice, it is a privilege to be here today, even if I am rivalling the sirens going past. And to be able to help honour this week's NAIDOC Week, and particularly the theme of the next generation, strength, vision and legacy. As Tremaine said, it's actually the 50th anniversary of NAIDOC becoming a week-long celebration, but being the historian that I am, I was digging back, and again Tremaine alluded to this as well. Really, NAIDOC Week grew out of a much earlier movement that initially was a protest movement in the 20s and 30s in Australia, and I think it's important to acknowledge that that was a key civil rights movement here in Australia, and one that took a long time to even start to come to fruition. So I'm very, very pleased to be here and to be a part of NAIDOC Week. I do think it's important to acknowledge that this year's theme encourages us to actually look forward and to consider how we can support and empower the next generation to carry into the future the strength, the vision and the legacy of their ancestors. And I just have a few thoughts on each of those, which, if you'll permit, I will share. My observation is that the strength of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples is very evident in their resilience and their determination. Despite centuries of adversity, the oldest continuous cultures on Earth have endured and thrived. And what I particularly want to call out and acknowledge is just how much resilience our First Nations communities have displayed in recent years through the public discourse around the Voice to Parliament. I saw that firsthand myself. And regardless of where anyone sits in that debate, what I saw was that the pressure and the expectations that were placed on my Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander colleagues to often explain their views and to explain and help educate the broader Australian community was really deeply immense for each and every one of them to experience. And I think it's important that we acknowledge just how much pressure that brought. I think it's a real demonstration of the resilience and the strength, and I think that that is something that will play well and be an important foundation for the future. I'm very proud to have stepped into a role in a department where it is really obvious that there is a long record of the department being committed to and supporting this strength and the resilience. I'm still getting briefed on all the different programs and policies and initiatives, but it is obvious that the people I work with and am privileged to work with feel this commitment very deeply. Vision, the second part of the NAIDOC theme. When you think about it, it's about imagining a better future and taking steps to make that a reality. And I think it's obvious that the next generation of our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander leaders are already demonstrating their extraordinary vision, whether it's in arts or law or business or education or social services or environment, community leadership. I look at our role in government as being a responsibility to actually nurture that leadership and support it and create the opportunities for our young people to thrive. And I know that as government we need to continue investing in education and employment and leadership pathways, and most importantly continue to address the systemic barriers that continue to impact Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities. But I also think there's another thing we need to think about, and that is there's no one vision for the future, and Kerry actually alluded to it when she was talking about her children and her grandchildren, and I think the performers also alluded to it when they talked about Mother Earth. There is no one vision for the future, so we need to recognise there are different visions for the future and that this may require different supports from government and community. The last point that I found myself reflecting on is the third part of the theme, which is legacy. And I think we need to consider the legacy we leave behind, and also acknowledge that legacy is not just about what we inherit, but what we pass on. And the stories and the traditions and the knowledge of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples are treasures that must be preserved and shared with future generations. Some of you may not be aware, but that particular part of legacy is actually got a definite connection now with the Department of Justice, because the Queensland State Archives have actually just moved into our portfolio. And I didn't realise this, but there's actually 3.5 million items in the State Archives documenting Queensland's past 200 years of social, economic and cultural history. So among those items are many thousands of records that relate to the experiences of First Nations people. And so there's an important program of work underway under the State Archivist, which is to improve the searchability and the access to those records, and in particular the family, the language and the personal history of generations of First Nations Queenslanders. So what we're hoping is that the greater access to these records will actually help support research for educational purposes, but also policy development, importantly language revitalisation, and also the retelling of histories. But this is the thing that I found myself reflecting on. I don't think legacy should be just about the preservation of First Nations records. Those of us whose backgrounds are not enriched by Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander culture have our own responsibility to ask questions about our own families' pasts here in Australia. We need to learn more about what our families saw, did. We need to embrace different histories to perhaps what we grew up in. And again, Kerry alluded to the changes over the last couple of generations and even within her own family. And I think we need to use this deeper understanding to actually create a legacy that is better for those who come after us. So when we raise our flags today, I want us to collectively reflect on the legacy that we will build together. I will stop talking because I realise I'm not the main act here by any means, but I do want to thank everybody who has contributed to putting this event together, particularly the Indigenous Justice Programs teams who have done all of the coordination. The NAIDOC Week reminds us that we all have a very important role to play in creating a more inclusive and equitable society. So let's celebrate the strength, the vision and the legacy of Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander peoples, not just this week, but every day. And then all of us should be working together to ensure that the next generation inherits a future they can be proud of. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah, for those words. I would like to now invite our second speaker, Isaiah Dawes. Isaiah Dawes is a bachelor and a Garawa saltwater man. Isaiah overcame early childhood challenges growing up in 17 different foster homes, using his experience to establish ID Know Yourself, a mentoring program for young Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people within the New South Wales foster care system. His vision is access to culture and support assistance for young people to live safe, happy and fulfilling lives. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Isaiah.
Galangorjali, which means good day in Bachelor language. It's an absolute privilege and pleasure to be here today, and thank you for the opportunity to be heard here. Before I share a little bit about my story and the work that we do at ID Know Yourself and bringing in this year's theme to life in NAIDOC Week, I would love to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands and waters of which we're gathered upon today, the Yagara and the Turrbal people, and pay respect to our elders and ancestors who have helped preserve, sustain and maintain the Mundai country, the beautiful country that we're also lucky to be able to call home, to walk on and to play on. The next generation, this year's theme, next generation, strength, vision and legacy. This year's theme resonates with me quite a lot, and to bring my story to life and resonate it to strength, that's probably the one that stands out the most. And you know, as it was just shared, you know, I grew up in, I was taken away from a young age and placed into the system from 2 months old until 18 years old, and I grew up in all sorts of different foster homes, all in New South Wales, and I grew up in 17 different foster homes. I was taken away from my culture, my sense of identity, and my belonging in this world. A lot of my family are actually from here in Brisbane, but as a young Aboriginal boy, I grew up in all these different places down in New South Wales. I never knew where I was from or who my mob was, but I had that great deep desire, and often the two main questions you get asked within our community is, who's your mob and where you're from? And as a young Aboriginal boy, I always had that void in my spirit, and I always wanted to know, because I figured if I knew where I'd come from, well, that would give me a greater understanding on where I needed to go in my life. And I searched far and wide, but I never knew until I was able to get out, of the system, and I survived that. And I found my, I always say, it was a long way home. I found my way home. And I think, through those experiences as a young boy, I had carers who would get inches away from my face and they'd say, you're a nobody, Isaiah. That's why you grew up in foster care and that your family abandoned you. And you know where you're going to grow up? You're going to grow up just like your parents, the nobody, and thrown in jail. And so, as a young boy, I was conditioned with this mindset, but, I always had this strength within. I didn't know where it come from until I was able to meet my family in a barbecue here in Brisbane when I was 21 years old. And you know, there was a lot of people there, and I got to meet my uncle, my aunties, my nans, and, you know, I felt like that void in my spirit was finally full. And I'd heard my grandfathers and my grandmother's stories and how they were removed, and that my aunties and uncles were removed, and my siblings and I were removed. And, you know, for 4 or 5 generations, our family had been removed and a part of this forced assimilation. And after hearing those stories, I knew that that cycle had to stop with me. And that was the genesis of starting up my own mentoring organisation supporting Aboriginal children in out-of-home care. And, you know, it wasn't easy, but I knew that if you knew your why, then you can endure anyhow. And so I always remind myself it's about the next generation. It's about leaving something behind. And also realise that, yes, there's a lot of intergenerational trauma in our communities, but there's also a lot of intergenerational resilience. And that was something that I had within me, and I found after I'd connected with my family and culture. And I've been able to go back and dance on Ngari, which is the traditional name of Fraser Island, which means paradise in our lingo. And I've been able to connect back up. And after knowing who I was and where I was from, I knew I was ready in a position to help support the next generation and ensure that that vision had come to life. And that vision was to create a world where all Aboriginal children feel like they belong, and the legacy to carry that baton forward and invest in this generation, so then the next generation and the next generation, we don't have children who have been taken away from their family, their culture, and their sense of belonging in this world. And that's something that's so deeply important to me, and to ultimately break the cycle for this generation, but many more to come. So, Galangonyin, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today and to give me this platform. I would love to, yes, I'm based in New South Wales, but I would love to bring this program to life. We work with the Crew Court in New South Wales and the justice system. We work with a lot of kids who are in contact with the juvenile justice, out-of-home care and child protection system. But I'd love to bring that to life here today and up here in Brisbane. Thank you so much for your time, and happy NAIDOC week.
Thank you again, Azai, for taking us on your journey and sharing your words today. I would now like to invite the Torres Strait Island performers from the Mabuyag Torres Strait Island Dance Troupe. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the members of the Mabuyag Torres Strait Island Dance Troupe.
Kapugig, everyone. Good day to everyone. Happy NAIDOC. My name is Matilda, and my partner here is Brian.
Hi there.
And we come from Mabuyag Island. We're a Brisbane-based family group, and we represent our island home, which is Mabuyag. Mabuyag is part of the western group of islands in Torres Strait. And some of the songs we're performing today will be sung in our language, which is Kalalagauya, and the dialect of Mabuyag. First of all, we're going to perform a song which is a hymn, a gospel song, and it's about bringing the good spirit here while we all gather here today. And before we perform, we also like to acknowledge the traditional people of this area and pay our respects for our elders that have gone before us and those that are here with us today. Yes, so. Sena Brega Pentecosta Saman, Muraya Kalasi Aunia Europon, Yagamuno. Matanor Tayangi Masna Pamuluka, Nede Kaigu Banos Tana Muni Asimui, Usakarada. Tana Munde Tartai, Tana Munia, Nede Moingo Burkoi, Tana Tanamunia, Senabitona Ramani, Maikima. Senapega Pentecost Kasaman, Murae Kalasia ni Ayurapun, Yagamunu. Matanur tayan gimas na pamuluka, na de kay Kubanur Tanamuni Asimui, Pusakarada. Tanamunay tartai, Tanamunia, Nerde moingo morkoy, Tanamunia, Senabitona Ramani, Maigima. Eso. So the boys will be performing 3 songs from our island. The dances are actually telling stories of our lifestyle up home. We sing about the environment. We also sing about the life on the sea, our travels, and also some of the boats we use for the maritime industries up there, with troca shell and pearling industries. So our boys will perform 3 of those songs. Yes, so thank you everyone. I hope you enjoyed our performance as the boys enjoyed performing for you. Happy NAIDOC and God bless. Yes, so.
Thank you again to the Mabuyag Torres Australian Dance Troupe. Let's give another round of applause, eh? That was good. Thank you. I would like to now invite to the stage our final speaker for today's ceremony, Marissa Nona. Marissa Nona, Chief of Good CEO and Custodian of Ecosystems for Deadly Inspiring Youth Doing Good. Marissa brings years of experience working with young people and a deep passion for her community. She actively engages in diverse opportunities to broaden her perspective and strengthen her connections, always striving to make a meaningful impact. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Marissa.
Good morning, everybody. As mentioned, my name is Marissa Nona. I'm a Gajala Kukuyalanji and Darnley Island descendant living in Gimoy country up in Cairns my entire life. And absolutely grateful to be here today and, you know, carry the welcoming and approval of the Turrbal and Yurraga people and welcoming me on country and me and my ancestors. Thank you for your welcome and acknowledgement. A little bit nervous, you're all here looking at me, so I do apologise if I get a little bit stuck. But as mentioned, yes, I'm a co-founder of the Deadly Inspiring Youth Doing Good Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander organisation in Cairns, Queensland. And we are a group of young people who were birthed out of need. Need because our community were hurting. We had a massacre in our community that impacted the lives of our entire space and the nation. And as a result, we had young people who had graduated from high school seeking a purpose and a way to give back into community and not knowing how. Many of our organisations in our community were driven by the dollar, and we saw a need to step up and just do. So a group of us young people got together and we volunteered. We opened up our community hall, we did basketball, we shared our culture, we held cup murrays, we did everything we humanly can. And from that day forward, we decided that we needed to step up and lead and showcase what doing actually looks like. Sometimes it's hard when you're running an organisation to remember that simply doing is a really simple act to do. Because you get caught up in governance and in building and in finances and all these other things that when it comes to the crux of helping the next human, it really doesn't matter. All of those sort of things are free. So we took the initiative and we stepped up. Since then, our organisation has grown. We haven't left Cairns. We don't believe we should leave Cairns until we've solved Cairns. Cairns is a growing issue and we need to be able to support our community by bridging the gap between those who have changed their life and being able to step into leadership. And there is a huge gap there because when you make a decision as a young person or anybody in community to change your life, you need people to give you second chances. And no matter what we say in our organisations and in our institutions and in our programs about giving people second chances, the reality is a lot of those people who are ready for change and a new life really, really struggle to find that new pathway. So we're dedicated in our community to be able to broaden those perspectives and be able to offer everybody an opportunity to step up, whether it is our mob or whether it is our allies. We want to come together and be able to share those experiences. I am a baby of NAIDOC, the Cairns NAIDOC community. I have been a part of it since I was in high school. I have been leading the stage since I was 16, 17 years of age, and I'm now 30-something, which is really, really old for me, given that I run a youth organisation founded by young people, and all my staff are younger than me, which is such a privilege and honour to be able to lead such powerful young people with such integrity for doing the right and doing good for our community. But it is NAIDOC week, and I want to honour my leaders in my community, Lynette Jewis, Lou Hunter and Nathan Williams, who've carried the NAIDOC torch for so many years in our community. And in the last 3 years, we've had a succession plan where my organisation and my young people want to step up. We know that to carry the torch, tears come because I get nervous, so don't worry about those tears. It's just nerves. But we want to step up in our community. We want to take charge. We know that as they get older and life carries on, that they deserve retirement and to be able to know that what they've built, their legacy can carry on. So for the last 3 years, we've built their trust. We've stroked their back, we've dealt with their aggression, we've done all the teething, and we've built such an amazing handover and succession plan. And what we've learned throughout that period is that our elders and leaders who came before us, the fight was extremely hard, and it caused a lot of significant trauma, and it held us back. We get that. And as young people, we struggle to remember the impacts of their leadership and their fight before us when we go forward and we start to make some of these decisions. It takes hand-holding, and it takes nurturing, and it takes empathy, understanding, resilience, strength, and mindfulness to be able to step up into the footsteps of our leaders and elders that came before us. And I'm really privileged, like I mentioned, to be able to lead young people on that journey through succession and to take on that torch for the next generation. I'm absolutely freezing and really grateful for your time. It is hot in Cairns and I'm not used to these temperatures, so I absolutely am blessed to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me to your NAIDOC celebrations, Brisbane. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marissa, for taking us part of your journey and taking the time to speak with us here today in Brisbane. Now we have reached the time to raise the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander flags, which will be raised alongside the Australian and Queensland flags. To assist with the flags being raised today, we have Isaiah Dawes, Aboriginal flag, Marissa Nona for the Torres Strait Islander flag, Judge Brassington, Chief Magistrate for the Queensland flag, and Acting Chief Justice David Bottis for the Australian flag. I would now invite the flag bearers to make their way to the flag poles to raise the flags. Everyone, at this time, we will pause to observe a minute's silence to remember and pay our respects to elders who are no longer with us, acknowledging their efforts and contribution to community. Thank you.
you black fellas, you got to fight for your rights. Fight for your rights. Fight for your rights. And all you black fellas, you got to fight for your rights. Fight for your rights. Fight for your rights. 'Cause you can't change the rhythm of my soul. Oh, oh, oh. You can't tell me what to do. You can't break my bones by putting me down. Oh, oh, oh. Or by taking my children away from me. 'Cause we have survived the white man's world. And you know you can't change that. 'Cause we have survived the white man's world. And you know you can't change that. Oh, grandmother, mother, sister, daughter. Grandmother, mother, sister, daughter. Grandmother, mother, sister, daughter. Grandmother, mother, sister, daughter. Aboriginal woman, backbone of our spiritual ways. Aboriginal woman, she is here to stay. Aboriginal woman, backbone of our spiritual ways. Aboriginal woman, she is here to stay. She is here to stay. She is here to stay.
Thank you to our Paul. Thank you to our flag bearers and our local artist, Georgia Korowa. Everyone, today's event would not have been possible without the support and dedication of many people. Special thank you to the DoJ, or Department of Justice, I should say, Court Innovations Program and the Indigenous Justice Program and their team. This now concludes the official Department of Justice NAIDOC 2025 flag raising ceremony. Can I kindly ask all elders and dignitaries to remain behind for a short moment and come up to the front for a photo? And again, thank you all for your attendance today, and we hope that you enjoy the rest of NAIDOC. Happy NAIDOC.